Good evening and welcome to Spotlight. I'm TJ Sanchez. Spotlight is a video magazine program produced by advanced television students at the University of La Verne. Spotlight focuses on interesting people, places, and events in and around La Verne and San Dimas. This episode includes some of our favorite segments from fall 2018. We love the LA County Fair. Some people go for the rides, some go for the games, but for us, it's all about the food. And not just the food, but the meat. So, we went to check out who was grilling what at this year's fair. Have a look.
I predict barbecue in your future with a life of longevity.
There is almost 200 food and beverage subcontractors, food locations, about 160. I'm the assistant general manager for Spectra. So this is my 25th fair. The main barbecues that we have that people tend to seek out. A lot of them have been here for many, many, many years. There's a couple that are new, but a majority of them have been here for many years. So you have Chuck Wagon, it's been here for many years.
Irene Dugan, probably over 37 years. We do 3 fairs. We do the San Diego County Fair, we do the OC Fair, and the LA County Fair. Marlboro came out with a cookbook when they do the cattle drive, and there is a Chuck Wagon that does all the cooking for these guys. That cookbook sold so well that they wanted to have a concession stand, and they would give out the cookbooks. They were like, there was pamphlets that maybe a little book, and they would give those out to the customers, and it was a big hit. They would use every part of the cow. They didn't waste anything. And then after that was over with Marlboro, the man sold it, and my husband bought it. We smoke beef brisket, so we have brisket sandwiches, beef brisket sandwiches. We have beef brisket dinners, and we make beans and coleslaw. We make our own beans. We make our own barbecue sauce. We also do pork butts. We smoke those, pork ribs. We have chicken that we smoke that in the kitchen. Well, right now we have a Cowboy Sunday, and it's coleslaw, beans, mashed potatoes, and the meat on top, whichever, if you want beef or pork. Barbecue sauce on top of that, and a grape tomato. We also have the regular Sundays, and what that is just mashed potatoes with the meat and the grape tomato on top, and a lot of ladies like that because it's not huge, it's reasonable. All our meat that we have is really good. The best seller is our beef brisket sandwich. That's our number one in all the stands that we have.
Oh, in California for 30 years. We've done this fair for 19. I've been cooking barbecue in these pits for 45 years. The briskets cook 18 to 28 hours. The ribs you saw, we put those on about 12 o'clock. Pork butts cook 18 to 22 hours. I put the briskets on 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Roughly 18 to 24 hours later, the first shelf is done. Then the second shelf, the bottom shelf, takes another 2, 3, 4 hours. Ribs cook in one pit, pork butts in one pit, briskets rather, in the 2 pits on the front. I spend 4 months every year out here cooking barbecue for them. I developed the barbecue sauce years ago, then we've modified it since.
So this is my 31st year as a concessionaire in the fair industry, and this is my 30th year at the LA County Fair. No, it actually started at the fair. I actually built a concession stand. We cook the big ribs, we cook the bacon wrapped pork belly in a stick, and we also do the turkey legs in there. So we actually start with high premium Duroc pork belly. We cut them in nice big giant cubes. We hit them with ground sage and ground rosemary. We put them on a stick, and then we wrap them in 2 feet of an extra thick honey smoked bacon. All that then goes inside that smoker, and it'll go for about 2.5 hours in the rotisserie. We do the same thing with the big ribs, and we got a really nice dry rub that we use. Now the turkey legs, we actually have those already ready to go, but we like to smoke them and get that flavor. We don't add any spices to it because they're already marinated, ready to go. When you bite into that bacon wrapped pork belly, you first get that crunch of that bacon. You got that honey, kind of a little bit of sweetness. And then you bite into it, and then you pull off a piece of that pork belly. And that pork belly's kind of got that balance of the saltiness to it. And all that fat kind of renders down, and there's a very thin layer of that fat inside there. So you bite into it, it's got different textures, got different flavors. That's one that's really good.
I knew you'd love it.
Most people go to the LA County Fair in the fall for 2 weeks of food, rides, and games. But the fair puts on events all year long. In December and January, the fair hosted their first Chinese Lantern Festival. The event featured dozens of handcrafted lanterns, kung fu demonstrations, and large samplings of Chinese food and culture.
One of China's most celebrated traditions is the Lantern Festival. After traveling over 8,000 miles from China, the Han Art Culture's Chinese Lantern Festival is now here in the Pomona Fairplex for the very first time. It is a colorful and vibrant event that immerses guests with the arts and cultures of China. The origins of this festival date back 2,000 years ago during the Han Dynasty, when Buddhist monks would light lanterns in honor of the Buddha. This practice later spread throughout China and has been celebrated ever since. Over time, the lanterns have evolved into art forms and are a treasured part of celebrations. President of Han Art Culture George Zhao stated during his ribbon-cutting speech that since those ancient days, their exhibitions have only gotten more spectacular, thanks to the advancement of technology. Today, the displays are sophisticated combinations of color, light, sound, and electronics. The giant lanterns are powered by low-watt LED bulbs as opposed to flames. They shine brightly, while showcasing more colorful and lavish designs. It took about 15,000 hours to create and assemble every lantern by hand. This year's theme is the Wild. 35 lantern artists worked for 45 days preparing all of the wild-themed lanterns. You can see some of your favorite wild animals lit up brightly while walking through the event.
Make sure to pay attention to the special displays they have, like the Peacock, which is made out of 6,500 recycled medicine bottles filled with colored pigment.
Guests can walk for hours, taking in the breathtaking views of special lanterns at every turn and watching all of the shows they offer. In addition to the tradition of the lanterns, the festival also showcases special kung fu shows. There are 2 shows every evening, one at 6 p.m. and one at 7:45 p.m. 3 boys from Hebei in northern China take the stage every night to demonstrate their skills in the art. This is their first time traveling to and performing in America. They specialize in Chinese advanced kung fu, which includes spears, knives, swords, and all kinds of Shang Xin Chu Wen, which is a style of Chinese martial arts. This style characterizes fast and aggressive moves that generate bursts of power used to attack and defend.
And it looks pretty cool.
Kung fu is a skill that people work very hard to develop, and it never fails to amaze. Another part of the festival is shadow play, puppet shows performed with the shadows of paper figures controlled with sticks. The story of the turtle and the crane is one of the most famous and traditional shadow play shows. Behind it all are masters of the art form, from Tang Shen-Shi.
George Zhao noted that shadow play is a big surprise to Americans when the curtain rises, and they discover that the puppetry is different than that of the US.
In China, sometimes what looks simple is actually complicated. The Chinese Lantern Festival is open Thursday through Sunday from now until January 6 at the Pomona Fairplex. Come and celebrate the Chinese culture while you still can. Enjoy a kung fu show, see the beautiful lanterns, a shadow play, and eat some delicious food with your friends and family. You won't be disappointed. Visit ChineseLanternFestival.com for more information.
Right in our own backyard is the world's largest collection of native California plants at the Rancho Santa Ana Botanic Gardens in Claremont. Spread across 86 acres, the garden features over 2,000 different species of native plants. The garden also serves as a botanical research facility for the Claremont Graduate School. In addition to their extensive collection, Rancho Santa Ana houses a nursery with plants for sale to the public and sponsors a number of fun and educational events during the year.
The history of the garden is really interesting. It was started in 1927 by a very prescient woman, Susanna Bixby Bryant, and she had the foresight to say California native plants are truly special, and she sensed that there would be encroaching development, population growth, many challenges facing our California environments and our really special plants. And so she set aside a ranch in Santa Ana, which became a botanical garden, and she focused her efforts on plant conservation, on plant research. And so this was happening, as people would say, way ahead of her time. She was quite amazing. And so in 1954, the garden moved to where I'm standing now in Claremont, California, to be affiliated with the Claremont colleges. Native plants are so amazing in that they really provide an aesthetic voice and sense of place. So when you go to any region in the world, the native plants grew there and evolved there over thousands and thousands, perhaps millions of years.
We have several different species of oak trees that are scattered throughout the gardens. They're sort of divided, like our desert collection is down off the mesa in one area. Our chaparral plant community is out in the further 40 acres of the garden. We have plants that are strictly cultivars of native plants, and they're all located in one certain area as well.
There are many plants that are very popular and are native to California that we grow here at the garden. The shrubby monkey flowers are a very popular group among people who like to grow California native plants because they come in a wide variety of colors ranging from yellow to deep red, and they're fairly easy to grow, and they're a small shrub.
So it's really important at places like Rancho Santa Ana Botanic Garden to celebrate our local flora and to really spread the word about it, that these plants are beautiful in any garden setting, that they have really important roles in our local environment, and they are just stunning. I manage the way the public interfaces with our garden both on and off site. Many of our programs connect into that world. So we had a Brew Wild Beer Festival where we invited craft breweries across Southern California to create a beer with a California native plant from our garden. We have a program in October that just happened called Things That Go Bump in the Night, where we unravel the myths surrounding nocturnal creatures and nighttime phenomena in nature.
It was a one-night event. Originally, everything was in one area in the outdoor classroom. There were about 6 different stations. Since then, it's grown to a 2-night event. We had close to 1,300, if not more than that, for the 2 nights of the event. The next family event coming up is in November. It's our Acorn Festival, and that's been a continuing annual event for about the same amount of time, about 20 years. And we have support from the local Tongva people. They come, and the event is all about celebrating not only their culture, but the importance of native plants to native peoples. We have an annual plant sale to kick off the planting season. In California, fall is the best time to plant, not spring. So we have our plant sale in the fall, and then the Grow Native Nursery is open from the opening day until May, when it kind of gets too hot to start planting new things.
Often those sale days will have free admission to the garden, so people can come and get inspired in our 86 acres and see, oh, that California native plant looks really cool, that one does, I would love that for my yard. And then they're invited to go to the nursery and, pick up a plant. So when you come here, you will enter a truly special place with 86 acres of California native flora from all over the California floristic province, which spans basically the length of our state and tiptoes down into Baja.
Some of the rare plants that I've discovered are only occur in California and are very rare in California, and I've brought material back to the garden so that we can learn more about how the seeds respond, so that they what triggers them to germinate and things like this. And so we do have those collections here at the garden now.
Rancho Santa Ana Botanic Garden, I would say, is like a microcosm of California. It's like everything that's native to California condensed in one place. But when you come here, you can actually see it. You see the plants growing, you see the insects doing what they're supposed to do, you see the animals and the birds, and I think it really drives that point home how much we have here in California that many people are not aware of.
Nestled in the Arts District of Pomona, the Latino Art Museum features artwork from local as well as international Latino artists. For the last 20 years, the Latino Art Museum has held rotating shows as well as classes for adults and children.
Graciela Nardi. I'm the president and founder of the Latino Art Museum in the city of Pomona. The first opening for the Latino Art Museum was the month of July 2001. The purpose of the museum is to exhibit Latin American artists, give it the opportunity to artists from all over the world to exhibit in the Latino Art Museum every month, including 3 months international artists. We open every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday from 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock. And once a month, we open for the art walk, and opening reception is the second Saturday of the month, and we open 4 o'clock to 9 o'clock. Art walk is a very interesting event. I remember 17 years ago, only few people came to Pomona, and right now, if you walk second Saturday in Pomona, it's 10 o'clock in the night and people still walking because we have food, entertainment, music, a lot of different activities, plus every one of the galleries, they open the doors, and people, what they like to do is they walk through the galleries and they can come to see our work in every one of the galleries.
Ricardo Aguilar, and I don't know how to spell, that's why I became a painter. I began doodling for about 1.5 years, and then the doodles became these faces, and then I just went wild and do it by the thousands. Very happy that I was able to display my artwork here at the Latino Art Museum. With me and the lady who owns it, we're going way back, and I'm grateful to be here to display and to be together with my furniture, some of my paintings, because I have hundreds somewhere else. And yes, it's always nice to show your work, and also I'm excited to see people playing the mind games. We have a combination of murals and paintings, and tennis shoes, handbags, tables and chairs. Basically it's called the Faces of Hope, which is a combination of thousands of faces. I'm calling the Faces of Hope because I drew faces and they brought me hope because they gave me an activity, something to do. First, I invite people to color them. Before anybody was doing any kind of street coloring. And then I invented the mind games. It's different from Candy Crush or Where is Waldo or anything that's happening on the internet. These make you focus, you have to relax, you have to concentrate to be able to do the game.
We are a non-profit organization. We don't charge a fee to be part of the museum the time when you are coming to visit, but we have different places in the museum where you can donate some money because it's a good contribution for us. Plus this, we have a museum store. People donate some clothes, a lot of different stuff for our museum store, and with the money what we collect from the store and from this place, we buy supplies for children art classes. We don't charge supplies, but we give it free, and this is the way we can do that. We offer art classes. for children and adults, and we offer Spanish classes, conversation.
This museum is very well organized. It has a great display of Latin American artists and have good exhibitions every art walk, and it's a good place to visit. Now, even more so because I'm here, and the games are here.
If I did that coming from another country, you can do that too.
You ever want to climb into the ring and flip a competitor like the wrestlers of the WWE do? Well, have we got the spot for you. Wrestling Hall of Famer Jesse Hernandez runs a School of Hard Knocks in San Bernardino to train aspiring wrestlers in the ins and outs of what it takes to be a pro. Hernandez's Empire Wrestling Federation, or EWF, also stages matches in front of live audiences in Covina. Who knows? You may become the next Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Over 20 years ago, in San Bernardino, California, Jesse Hernandez established the School of Hard Knocks in order to train the next generation of wrestlers. He uses the Empire Wrestling Federation, or EWF, as a platform to allow his students to have matches in front of a real live crowd. The matches take place every month in Covina, California. For many people, the School of Hard Knocks and the EWF are just the beginning.
What we do here at the School of Hard Knocks, man, we get a young student that has never stepped into this ring. And one of the first things that we teach here is how to run the ropes, tumbling, falling correctly without hurting themselves.
I've been a longtime fan my entire life, actually. Grew up watching it with my younger brother. We're only a year apart, so we're really close. We used to always compete with each other. Who was, while we're watching TV, who was Shawn Michaels and who was Bret Hart. I didn't think I was able to do it. I always thought I was too small. I didn't have what it took, but of course, you'd be surprised when you get into some place and you have that heart behind it and that motivation to be somewhere. It doesn't take long to see it. It wasn't until I actually joined Jesse Hernandez's School of Hard Knocks before I knew that he actually had a promotion he was running, where you saw young up-and-comers making it. And of course, a lot of guys started off in the EWF at the School of Hard Knocks being trained. Some guys such as Frankie Kazarian, these dudes had to start somewhere, and nowhere better than Jesse Hernandez started, School of Hard Knocks. It's going to teach you what you're not going to learn everywhere else. You can watch all the TV you want in wrestling. You can watch all the program you see on TV and say, oh, I think I know how to wrestle. You can watch all the tutorials that you can look up online, but it doesn't come close to stepping in the ring with Jesse Hernandez to show you exactly how it's done, and shows you the reason why it's done. So it's not just the move, it's actually there's something behind it, it means something. And that is what EWF is all about.
Wrestling has always been something that's been watched in my family. Like my brothers watched it, my dad watched it, so it's always been on. I've always been around it. And so at that time, I started watching it with them, and all these women, I was noticing they were so good, and I was like, wow, I felt empowered watching it. So I was like, yeah, I'll try this, I've been training for about 1.5 years, and so eventually I got here to where I am, and I'm so super stoked to go out there, just prove everyone that this is where I belong, and that everyone made a right choice with for pulling me out here. I'm ready to go out there and prove myself to everyone.
Introducing first, in her debut match from Rolling Heights, Alyssa Jade!
Every week, once we had set a date, he was having me, I was different opponents every week at training. He had people working with me, making sure that I was working on matches, different types of spots, calling, without calling, everything. He made sure that I knew everything, and it's always had me constantly working, made sure that I was prepared, asking me questions, and it was everything he could have done, he did. just like over the top. I have more energy than I did when I first went out there. Like, so I went out and I had my first match, and everything went really great, and I was able to pull off the win, which is amazing. I'm doing it in front of all my friends and family who've just been supporting me the long way. Like, I'm really glad I got to win for them. Thank you so much.
But you know what? Credit goes to a lot of the students at the school that helped you.
Yeah.
Flecha Fudas was one of the biggest influences at the school. Myself and so many others that helped her make her a future star.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us on Spotlight. We hope you enjoyed this season of Spotlight. If you have ideas for future shows, please contact us at the email at the end of the credits. For all of us here at Spotlight, I'm TJ Sanchez. Good night.